Sincerity, a Bleach fandom community podcast brought to you by the extension of the Arrancar Petting Zoo. Thanks to a generous donation by a local espada, we're now welcoming a wonderful addition of several species of bats to the zoo. Come and see them today. Warning though, we have no kind of idea what side effects might occur if somebody gets bitten. Shiki got bitten on Monday and we've still not heard from him since, so we're assuming he's fine though. Anyway, my name is Lethan, and today I'm joined by Nomi.
Hello.
And Dale.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Oh, okay. I feel better about these
like
episodes.
bats. Oh, well, also that.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah. No, I really like bats, especially if you Google image search like little baby bats. They're so freaking cute.
Aww.
Some of them are tiny.
Yeah.
Some of them are like the size of your thumb.
They're so little.
So cute.
I know. Baby bats and baby spiders, I can't. I think they're the best.
I get the little baby jumper spiders in my room all the
Oh
time.
my god, I know!
They're annoying as fuck, the wee shits.
You guys have just reminded me that I ignored a spider last night and now I don't know where it is, so.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
If you suddenly develop the ability to sling webs from your wrists, please let us know.
Oh, alright. Well, speaking of bats and spiders and the such, these episodes were so much better than the last episodes Nomi and I had to do, because most of the last episodes were just like recap after the 2 filler seasons that we had, so I'm like super excited to get my teeth into these.
But yeah, they really
Yeah.
were. I still have my gripes, but yes, these were a million times better.
I've got a couple of gripes too, because there was at one point I did reach for the manga.
Oh.
Because I was like, I'm pretty sure this doesn't happen, so I like went to my shelf and pulled my manga off to check, and I was right. But anyway, yes.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It'll come up, we can discuss it. So will we start off with those sweet episode recaps?
We shall indeed.
Yes, indeed.
So we're starting off with episode 269, Ichigo and Uryu bonded back to back. And no, it's not that type of bonded, get your minds out of the gutter. In fact, I'm pretty sure
Sorry.
Ichigo and Uryu's backs don't even touch at all, so if you're wanting that super cool trope where 2 people are surrounded and end up fighting back to back and defeating all their opponents, yeah, move along. Go watch Bucky and Rocket in Infinity War or something. Anyway, back to this episode. We saw at the end of last episode that Uryu channeled his inner Obi-Wan and popped up with a hello there before telling Yami to follow him and allowing Ichigo and Ulquiorra to resume their fight. So there's a lot of references this week.
No, that's fine. That's May 27th. Who cares? Go on. Once again, dating ourselves. I'm sorry. I won't interrupt anymore.
Meanwhile, it's worth noting that whilst all of this is going on, Rukia is still hacking down tree clones that Rudbon creates. With some expert archery skills from Uryu and Bala skills from Yami, their fight resumes, just on a lower floor of the tower. Ichigo and Ulquiorra continues, with Ulquiorra asking if Orihime is the reason why Ichigo is refusing to use his mask, a question Ichigo ignores and fires at Getsuga Tensho, but Ulquiorra deflects it back to Orihime, who protects herself with a shield. Sensing that Ichigo can't fight at full strength whilst Orihime is there, Uryu uses a Steely Schneider to start siphoning off Yami's Rishi, but Yami just pulls out the weapon and instead fires a Sero at Uryu. I wrote Yami. It's definitely Uryu. Back to Rukia, who seems to be struggling, at least until Renji and Chad show up, because apparently Rukia needs some big strong men to save her. Audible eye roll and mutters about anime choices. Anyway, turns out that Uryu's plan all along is just to trick Yami into standing in a certain space. He fires off some more Steely Schneiders, all of which miss. No, he's not a stormtrooper with rubbish aim. Can you tell I'm excited for Obi-Wan with all these references? Anyway, he's just completing the pentagram that make up Sprenger, the move he used with Renji's help against Xylaporo. Yami is visibly injured but still takes a few steps towards Uryu, something he shouldn't have done, for it activates an Arrancar bomb that Mayuri Kurosuchi gave Uryu that goes off when it detects an... can't read my own writing. Anyway, let's try that again.
It's okay, Nomi, summer is hard.
Oh, that was good.
Very quick, Dale.
That was good.
Fuck, that was really good.
It's an off-camera bit. Don't worry about it. Off-camera, off-mic, off.
mic.
Good. So,
Off
Summer
stage.
is hard.
Yeah.
off air. Off. Just off. Honestly, there's just something off about it.
Oh god,
Anyway.
this is going to be one of those episodes.
Yami
And
is
how?
visibly injured, but still is able to take a few steps towards Uyu, something he shouldn't have done, for it activates the Arankar bomb that Mayuri Kurasuchi gave Uyu. That goes off when it detects an Arankar, causing a huge hole to open up. Yami is hanging on by a thread, or at least a hand, at least until Uyu fights an arrow, dislodging the piece of floor Yami is holding onto, breaking it away and plunging Yami down through the depths of the tower. But don't worry, Uyu also had time to destroy some pillars, ensuring that Yami wouldn't stop before he reached the bottom. With Yami gone and Orihime safe and protected by Uyu, Ichigo apologizes to Ulquiorra for keeping him waiting and finally dons his hollow mask. But Ulquiorra has other ideas, and takes the fight upwards, blasting through the roof of Las Noches. He reveals there are 2 things forbidden in Las Noches: a Grand Recero, someone want to tell Grimjaw that? And an espada resurrecting higher than 4, and so being the stickler for the rules he is, he brought Ichigo above Las Noches so he can reveal his resurrection.
I love the idea of Ulquiorra being a stickler for the rules. I'm sorry, it's great, but please do continue.
He kind of
He is, and it's so great, it's so anyway, please
He's also
continue.
in charge right now.
He
So
really is.
anyway.
So good, like I could just imagine him being a prefect.
He really would be, though. He really would be.
Walking about with his wee espada prefect badge on.
Not causing trouble, kissing ass, low-key, yeah.
Anyway, the battle soon takes a turn for the worse when Ulquiorra fires a javelin, leaving Ichigo with no time to react and only just manages to deflect it with a Getsuga Tensho. Something that if he hadn't of, he would have certainly lost his head.
And that brings us into episode 270, Beginning of Despair, Ichigo the Unreachable Blade. This episode begins with a little fraction of Ichigo's mask being chipped off to the floor. Ichigo is shocked at Ulquiorra's speed, mimicking the audience who's literally probably holding their breath for this one, which is one of the best fights that we've seen in all Bleach so far. Yeah. Ulquiorra throws his javelin-like attack at Ichigo, and while he's able to dodge the first, the second hits his upper right shoulder, sending him flying backwards. Ichigo tries using his Getsuga Tensho attack, but to no avail, not even a scratch. Ulquiorra explains the blackness of his attack is similar to his own Cero Oscuras, which is a Cero that an espada can release only when they're in their release form. Showcasing the attack, we see the devastating damage as Ichigo's mask is fully destroyed. Uryu and Orihime have a cute moment gazing at the sky, until she asks Uryu to take her up into the danger zone. Ulquiorra shows off a new skill, the ability to have a second release, which he is the only espada to have been able to achieve. With his Segunda Etapa now released, he tosses Ichigo around like a ragdoll. Uryu and Orihime arrive just in time to feel the suffocating spiritual pressure and watch as Ichigo, who is bound by Ulquiorra's tail, is blasted with a Cero.
And that brings us to episode 271. Ichigo dies. Orihime, the cry of sorrow. So, Ulquiorra, in what we've previously learned is his signature move, blasts a hole through Ichigo's chest. Ichigo plummets to the ground. Orihime rushes forward, desperate to help however she can, but she's apprehended by Ulquiorra, who coldly assures her that her powers aren't enough to keep Ichigo alive. From behind, Uryu emerges, shooting Ulquiorra with arrows and once again making use of his licked Regan technique, buying Orihime time to heal Ichigo's wounds as Uryu and Ulquiorra start to go head-to-head. It looks, however, like Ulquiorra might have been right. Orihime is distraught, doubting herself, crying, calling out to Ichigo himself for help, seemingly to no avail, until something changes. A lot of things change Actually, and the next thing we know, Ichigo has totally transformed, now sporting horns and a super intense hollow mask and a full glorious mane of hair and some scary, scary spiritual pressure. Ulquiorra reflexively responds with a Cero Oscuras, only for Ichigo in this new form to counter it with a Cero of his own. Now, the fighting really heats up. Ulquiorra is stunned by this transformation, and both Ulquiorra and Ichigo unleash technique after technique after technique, and even Ulquiorra's massively intense Lanza de Relampago has no effect. Ichigo dodges and then lands one last devastating blow. Ulquiorra finally hits the ground. Still totally shocked and awed, but for the first time, acknowledging something like defeat. And with that, Ichigo fires off one last huge point-blank Cero, and there's a big explosion, and we'll see what happens next!
Oh my wow. Goodness me.
Oh my god. Yeah. It's so... Oh, yes, no. Lethan, you said it at the start.
It's very good.
It is so good. And
yes,
it wasn't until watching it again did I really appreciate how amazing this fight is.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason why I thought it was amazing, but I'll get into that in more details when we get to it. But yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh. I feel like we can probably talk about episode like 270 and 271 kind of together, right?
Yeah.
But we can
agreed.
Because I feel like 269 has kind of got a more of a like end point. It's got a lot of different stuff kind of happening in it. So
yeah, for sure.
Will we start off with that episode 269 then, Nomi?
We shall indeed. Oh my gosh, where do I start? Okay. So, episode 269 manga chapters. We take the last 4 pages of the Greed / the Gluttony. We mentioned last week that they interchange their names depending on if you're reading the Weekly Shonen Jump or the actual volume. So whatever 343 is, it's either the Greed or it's either the Gluttony. 344 the Pride and 345 the Sloth. We are still continuing with our 7 deadly sins.
Very nice.
Manga anime differences. We have the whole fight with Ishida versus Yami. They don't go down to a second floor. They don't fight. He doesn't use Sprenger.
Oh my god.
He literally, Yami just takes one step and Ishida's already planted the mine that blows up, and then that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Yep.
And that was actually, I quite enjoyed that fight. That didn't feel like a filler fight to me.
I agree with that. I think at points it dragged out, like they spoke too much for me. It was
I just assumed it was padding. I didn't assume the whole thing was filler.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Right?
Which kind of led on to the whole Chad and Renji helping Rukia. Because Rukia doesn't need any help.
She doesn't. Thank you.
God.
Rukia does not need help. Rukia defeats Rudborn by herself. And, well, actually, no. Yami defeats Rudborn. So.
Yeah.
Oh,
but she was holding him off. She was at least holding him off. And she was doing well.
She was doing well. And she knew that to use her Sodane Shirayuki to freeze the trees to stop them from growing. That's what she did in the manga.
Tight.
Yeah. So.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
Right?
Yes.
Winter is hard too, I guess.
Yeah. So, but the whole link in with Yami falling, because there wasn't that whole big fight, they had to add in extra bits because Rodborn looks up and he's like, ooh, what's that noise? And it's Yami falling on his head, you know.
Oh.
So they had to kind of extend that bit because they extended the Ishida Yami bit. And all of this...
Sorry, I was just going to say, I love how like susceptible a lot of these Arrancar are to just people falling on them. This is the second time it's happened now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and
sorry.
all of this happens after Ulquiorra and Ichigo go to the top of the roof. So, like, Rudborn comments that Ulquiorra, he's, like, looking up and he's like, oh, Ulquiorra's breaking through the roof, and then Yami falls on him. So, like, that whole kind of sequence is just so quick and streamlined. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, and Ulquiorra taunting Ichigo about his mask. Ulquiorra is like, oh, are you not using your mask because Oihime's here? He doesn't do that in the manga. There's no time. They're too busy fighting.
Oh, sure.
Well,
Yeah,
let me
that
just
makes sense.
scribble out a bunch of my points for this episode then, since they're not actually...
funny. Okay.
Since they don't apply because they weren't actually canon.
Yep.
Wow.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, I have a whole Rukia rant for this one.
Okay.
It's not really...
Yeah, send it. Oh, good.
It's been a while since I've had a good rant, right? It's usually an Orihime rant I have,
Yeah.
but this time it's a bit of a Rukia one. It's not so much a rant, but it kind of is, right? I'll just go. In the anime, and I don't know if this is in the canons as well, but he says that like she only poses a fraction of my power. Like that's what Rudborn says to her. And whether or not that's true or not, if it is true, Rukia can defeat opponents like with so much more spiritual pressure than she has because she's just so good in battle. We have to remember that she defeated, like, I can't believe this, but she's like defeated a Spada number 9 completely alone without a Bankai. She's not even a seated officer. And like, the Espada had the power of of a lieutenant and more, probably, you know what I mean? Because that Espada was devouring loads during its hollow phase. So it was fighting her with the power of a lieutenant. She's not even a seated officer, and she defeated it with her Shikai. And no offense, but like this really annoys me. Like, see when I watch a lot of like online YouTubers and they're like ranking a lot of the power levels, they always put Renji above Rukia, and I'm like, on what fucking planet?
God, that is...
It's so bad. Like, Renji has Bankai and he couldn't even defeat an Espada number 8 without any help.
Renji has an okay Bankai, right? At this point, his Bankai is still in development, I feel like. It is not a particularly powerful Bankai yet. But it's just not.
I think Rukia, with her Shikai alone and her abilities that she's learned from, obviously, Byakuya and probably, like, Jushiro as well, Kitake, and Kido, I think she could take Renji down, where she is right now.
Oh, yes, 100%, 100%.
Yeah. And, like, the only way...
I don't know. Maybe if Renji uses Keto.
Oh, it's true. He might... But that would be, like, an own goal thing, surely, right? Like...
Yeah, for real.
But anyway, yeah. It was really interesting to me that the only way that Rudborn... From what he was saying, the only way that Rudborn realised that he could actually win against Rukia was to tire her out. Like, to wear her down. With his limited supply, like his limitless supply of clones. That was what he was attempting to do, but Rukia was like, well, let me freeze that, let me take that ability right off you. Rukia fights with her smarts, which is why she's so powerful, and you can tell that a lot of that is probably her mentoring from Ukitake and, like, Byakuya coming through, but I just think she's a very resourceful person. And that might even have something to do with, like, her upbringing, like, being in the streets as a kid. She probably had to use her smarts because she's not exactly a big person to get by.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's definitely got the street smarts.
She's resourceful. Yeah, she uses what she has.
I actually really like following that thread given her mentorship from both Ukitake and Byakuya, because Byakuya is not like a big burly dude or anything either, so he has to be innovative about the way he fights.
Ukitake as
and
well.
Then Ukitake has his own personal limitations, so he has to be innovative about the way he fights. So of course Rukia has taken those lessons and incorporated them into her own style.
100%. And
good call.
That was me. That was just what I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, sorry. No, I was reading through the manga just to see
what he says.
That's fine.
And...
well, I'm just looking through it. I'm like, well, all of any notes that I have about Uryu fighting Yami don't matter now.
Me too. I just like scribbled all mine out.
God, even that fucking the when Uryu drops a mala suerte, like, bro, I thought it was great. I thought it was a cool moment for Uryu.
I really liked it. I liked the fight. I thought it was good too. I'll admit.
I did too. Yeah. I liked it quite a lot. So you know what? Proof that filler can be okay sometimes, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except when they bring Renji and Chad in to help Rukia with a battle that she doesn't need help with.
Oh yeah, hard emphasis on the sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll give you that though. He does still say mala suerte in the manga.
Oh, well, yay. That feels like a very Uryu thing to do, I think.
Because, of course, basically, Ishida... Let me go back. This app doesn't let me go back the way. Basically, Ishida pops up. He's like, hello there. He shoots Yami...
Yes, sorry! Yes.
He shoots Yami in the shoulder, which kind of forces Yami, the force of which forces Yami down. Ishida's like, Ugu! And then Yami's all angry and he's like, who the devil are you and where did you come from? He takes one step in order to attack Ishida. And
oh my god.
Ishida's like, oh, I couldn't penetrate you even with all that power. You're a tough one, but you better watch your step.
Sorry, I'm a child.
And that's when the hole falls up, which Yami falls down. He's planted an Aranka mine. Mad scientist gave it to him. Yami's hanging on by a thread. Yami's just hanging there. And Ishida uses an arrow. What did he use? Yeah, he uses an arrow to break the bit that Yami's holding on to, and he's like, Mala Suete, you have my sympathy, as a kind of parting gesture to him falling. That's pretty much the whole fight.
So there is a confrontation, there's just not a drawn-out fight.
Yeah, and I wouldn't really call it a confrontation. Okay. Yami had no chance. Yami didn't... Uryu confronts him in some way. They look at each other one time. The whole thing, Ishida is just looking so cool and so suave, and he's like...
He looks so suave.
He really is, though. Just look at this image that I'm about to send you.
Oh, please send us an image.
Show me pictures of Uryu literally anytime. He's such a pretty boy. You guys know I love a pretty boy Megane-kun. You know I love that.
There you go. Just look at how...
Walking away from an explosion? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Incredible.
He really
Big
is.
fan with the swishy cape. Oh.
Right. We don't need drawn-out fight scenes when we can have cool moments like this.
Yeah.
There is something to be said, though, for the amount that you can communicate in a single panel or a single page. It makes sense to me why we get the fight padding that we do and why you don't need it in something like a manga. Because a manga, or frankly, even if you think about like a prose novel that sometimes is adapted into something for screen, it only needs to be as long as it needs to be. Because you're not trying to fit into a certain length of time or check certain network boxes or whatever. So you can just look at this one dope panel of Uryu and know exactly what it means. And you don't have to pad things out. Yeah. It's so impactful. Ugh, big fan. Ugh.
But that was like all I have for 269, to be honest, because the rest of the stuff was all stuff that was filler, so...
Yeah.
Ooh, I've got one.
Ooh,
okay.
I think it's the only thing worth mentioning, really. Okay, so at the very end of the episode, the bit when Ulquiorra first releases, I just wanted to call out that it looked, so his command is enclose Murcielago, which literally just means bat, by the way, so great. Creativity abounds. And then, did it look to y'all like it was raining?
Yes.
It looked like acid rain.
That's all.
Like, yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I just thought it was green because Ulquiorra, but yeah, kind of, yeah. And so, I don't know, I just think this fight is a really interesting one for, like, where are similarities between the quote-unquote good guys and quote-unquote bad guys? Who are we supposed to sympathize with? Everyone? Oops! I think it's... The lines in this... Like, clearly Ichigo is the quote good guy and Ulquiorra is the quote bad guy, but Ichigo eventually assumes this really, really hollow-like form anyway, and Ulquiorra, I mean, we'll get there soon, but, like, this boy's not okay, and I feel for him sometimes, you know? So,
I really liked the camera layout and stuff of what they did. It was like a weirdly indirect side shot with Ichigo. We got like his profile, and then we got like it was like a slightly tilted screen, and it was like Ulquiorra's power just raining down on him, literally.
Yeah.
Metaphorically, literally.
It was like proscenium. It was like watching a stage play almost.
Really nice, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to get that in hand-drawn animation, because actually, especially when you start breaking down programs like Arcane, which are 3D and 2D combined, you've got like...
Yes, they are.
They play a lot more with camera angles and stuff to tell more of the story. In a series like that, you rarely see it in anime, so when they do play with it, you really notice. And there was another shot as well in one
Yeah.
of these episodes where it was like a super zoom out. I think it was after Ichigo gets blasted with the Zero on top of the pillar, and that's zoom out. That was kind of like that 3D camera angle. That was really cool.
This fight is a very well animated fight.
Very
It
good.
really
I think this series of 3 episodes as well, especially because watching the arc that we watched before and then knowing that they went in and they did this filler situation and then now we're back here, I think there was a considerable difference in the animation quality between pre that filler arc and right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the budget's gone in here.
Yeah.
Like,
Frankly, I'm okay with the filler alone for that reason alone. If it meant that you bought time to get this clutch animation, then like,
True.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, true.
That's it for me though.
The only 2 things I have for this is that Ulquiorra is a very accommodating opponent. The majority of the first half of the this episode, he's just standing there watching as Ichigo shouts at Ishida, or Ichigo's like distracted. He's very accommodating, and you can see that he really wants to fight Ichigo at his full strength, so he doesn't mind waiting for that.
That's quite cute.
Yeah. Do you think, I'm gonna be spicy, do you think there are any other reasons why he might be hesitating?
Oh, what? Because he also does not want to hurt Orihime?
I mean, possibly. It could, not necessarily just that, but I mean, so like, to your point earlier about Ulquiorra being a really good head boy, or really, prefect, whatever, the idea that he's been following rules for so long, I guess we don't really have a whole lot of insight into, like, what is he getting out of this? What does he actually want for himself? Has he ever allowed himself to explore his own wants and needs and feelings and impulses and desires? Or has he been sort of marching to the rhythm of someone else's drum for a little while? I don't know.
Especially if you consider the fact
He's
that...
so closed off.
Yes,
Yeah. And if you consider the fact that, from as we know, he is the only Espada that does not have any facciones.
Oh, great point.
That's a good point,
Yes,
yeah.
really good point.
So
I wonder if there's like an element of loneliness to him then that's obviously coming
Oh,
across. Yeah.
absolutely.
sure.
I think he's incredibly
So do
lonely.
you think maybe he held off attacking because he was kind of, part of him was kind of like interested in the
dynamic.
the dynamics, the relationships
Yeah.
between these people. Like
Yeah.
part of him is just like head tilt curious.
Yeah, especially because he brings up the whole heart thing again, doesn't
Yeah.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Ulquiorra just wants to
And
be
I think
loved.
it's I think
He
it's
just
almost
needs a hug.
sorry, go ahead. Well, yeah. And I think there's that thing of like he doth protest too much because he goes on for a bit. This is getting into the later episodes now, so we should probably do those differences before we follow this thread too far. But the idea that, oh, it's because you have a heart that you can get hurt, and it's because you have a heart that you have this flaw and this flaw and this flaw. And it's like, oh, really? You sound like you've thought a lot about that, my guy.
But yeah, we can definitely go into that when we get to it. The only other thing I
Yeah.
had for this episode was that Aizen is house proud. Like he doesn't let
I don't think I
anyone,
know what that means.
like he doesn't let anyone higher than the 4 top espadas release their resurrection because he doesn't want them to destroy his palace that he's created. So he's like,
Oh, I've just never heard that. Does that just mean that somebody
proud.
is like very, very careful about how they keep their living space? Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Effectively, yeah. It must be
Wow.
a British thing then.
is that a British thing?
Must be,
Yeah,
yeah.
must be.
Yeah, and that's weird because usually I've heard them before. That one's new for me.
It's a Scottish thing.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is.
Well, the thing you have to know about
Oh,
me and Nomi,
you know,
right?
that's I could see that
The
actually.
thing you have to know about me and Nomi is, see, when you grow up in a country where your 2 spoken languages are just used consistently all the time, we have no idea where the lines lie between the languages. So, like, between
Well, to be
Scots
fair,
and
this
English,
one was
we're
house
like,
and not hoose, so we don't have to assume. But yeah.
Yeah, like words that we've just used all of our life. Like I use the word ginnel interchangeably, but thinking it was Scottish. It's not. It's Northern English. So I think it's worse for me because my grandparents and everything are Northern English, but I was born and raised in North Scotland, so everything's everything.
Right.
Anyway,
everything is everything.
Everything is everything.
Yeah.
Everything is everything.
So if we ever use a word, Dale, and you're just
that.
like, what the fuck is that word? Let us know, because
Yeah.
probably Nomi. And this is the thing, when Nomi and I are
usually
podcasting
I
together,
think-
we're like, we have no idea which words are bad.
Right. No, usually that's why I asked about House Proud, because usually I know the things, having lived in England for more than a year. Southern England, to be fair, but still.
Yeah.
There we go.
Anyway.
Is that your 2 points?
Anyway.
That was my point, that Aizen loves his home. Yeah.
Will we
he does.
we rock straight into like the manga and anime differences for both episodes 270 and 271
I think we
together?
should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, there's a reason why I love this fight. And it's because it's pretty much all canon. Yay!
Yay!
Yeah.
So, episode 270, the manga chapters we use are 346, The Wrath, 347, The Lust, 348, The Lust 2. And manga chapters in 271 are 349, The Lust 3, starting volume 41, with 350, The Lust 4, and 351, The Lust 5. Very creative. Manga anime differences we have are that when Orihime and Ulquiorra are standing on at the edge of the hole looking up at the sky, in the manga, Orihime's got wounds on her, which means she hasn't healed them.
Oh.
Which is kind of telling of her mental state, that she's not healed herself because she's so worried for everything that's going on around her. Whereas in the anime, she's not got she just looks like she just stepped out the shower. She looks pretty pristine. And the only other manga anime differences for this chapter was when they reach the top of the canopy and they both kind of jump off the little lift that Ishida had used to create to get them up there. Ishida face plants in the manga, in the anime.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that in the anime.
I was like, why?
He doesn't.
I kind of loved it.
He doesn't do that in the manga. He doesn't face plant. They both just jump off nicely and keep running.
Thank God.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, it's his ability.
Yeah.
Why would he fall? It doesn't make any sense.
I agree with that. Like, if anybody's going to fall, it's going to be the person whose ability that it is not.
Yeah, but Ishida would never let that
No,
happen.
I wouldn't. No, that's true.
Not when he just looks so
Yeah.
suave walking away from an explosion in the previous.
Oh my god. That's such poor form. Oh man. Yeah.
Manga anime differences for 271, we had a little bit of extension between Ishida and Ulquiorra. Basically, the whole fight up until Ulquiorra grabbing Ishida's hand. That's just implied in the manga, so the anime just kind of extended it and let us know how it happened. But this thing really gets me, is that Ishida still has his hand in the anime. Whereas Ulquiorra chops it off in the manga. Like, we don't see the actual chopping off. The next time you see him is Ulquiorra just kind of, Ishida's just sitting there, arm chopped off from his elbow down, blood pouring out of his arm. So he's like, yeah, he's only got one arm.
So much better.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. That's pretty much it. A lot of this fight were panel to panel, frame for frame, exact copies of each other. And I
Yay.
think that's what makes this a
So
really
good.
powerful fight. There's no gimmicks. You're seeing the despair in Ichigo having finally met his match. And it's just the amount of emotion you can get when you follow the script is amazing.
Yes. Amen to that.
Yeah, agreed. And that should hopefully be even more like apparent going forward, because like
We don't have to wait.
we don't have to have filler when Bleach returns, and we're not going to get any censorship either, they've said. So like, to me, the stakes of this fight would have been so much higher if we'd seen Urio's arm being taken off. Like, I think that would have added to layers to this fight. So yeah.
Yep. Which is pretty incredible, because the stakes already feel super high. Even in this version of this fight, the animated version, Uryu doesn't seem okay. Like,
That's true.
Ulquiorra bats him around, no pun intended, bats him around like it's nobody's business, and he like hits the ground like really hard, and he skids across, and his face looks beat up and stuff. So I'm already like, oh no, even though of course, like, I don't know, I've seen a shonen one time, so obviously he's gonna be fine. But yeah, beat up my faves. Just beat up my faves. Beat them up more. Beat them up more, and I will be a happy camper.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah, there was the music they used as well. Like it was a very emotional
cinematography.
Cinematic?
Thank you. Cinematic choices that they made to portray this fight, and it was really powerful. It was so good. It's definitely watching it again, being more analytical, and having the manga beside me. This fight has definitely risen to one of my top fights.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
And I don't like either character, so that really saves something.
That's true.
Yeah.
That does actually.
Although I am starting to like, them more. Hanging out with you guys and the whole analytical side of things, it's making me realize that they're not too bad.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like that.
They're not Shinji, but they're not too bad.
Yeah.
Right, I'm gonna jump in with one of my points here because I just thought it was really nice. Like, I loved the metaphoric, like how the picture it painted in my head was when Uryu describes Ulquiorra's spiritual pressure like an ocean above the sky. I loved that. Like that was really cool. I don't know if that's exactly how it translated into the sub, but that's what they said in the dub, and I was like, oh my god, that's really, like, that paints such a cool picture.
Especially because that's upside down from the way things should be. The ocean shouldn't be above the sky, and yet.
Exactly.
Like, that is colossal and also very fucked up.
Yeah, which is probably how the pressure feels for them.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so good.
That reminds me of something else. Also, I think that Uryu says when he and Orihime are looking up at the sky and figuring out what happened. Uryu, I think, makes a comment, and it's something to the extent of that sky really was fake, as if, oh wow, I'm just realizing this now for the first time. And so this might be a bit of a stretch, but I wonder if it's another, there are a lot of, like, there are two fake spaces that are important right now. And so I'm not saying that this is necessarily Aizen looking at Urahara's capabilities and being like, oh yeah, well, fuck you, I can make fake things too. Like, I don't think it's exactly that.
Anything you could do, I could do better. I could do anything better than you. Sorry.
I do think it's a game of one-upsmanship anyway. I think that whether either of them would ever call it that or not, there is a bit of that going on. They're not, like, in direct competition because neither of them is that kind of petty. They're, like, both a little petty in their own ways, but when it comes to overarching plans, they're not going to waste time on super, super stupid shit. Not if it takes too much time and energy. So, I don't know. It's another instance of Las Noches under Aizen specifically being this backwards, convoluted mirrorverse version of stuff that people from Soul Society can do.
Yeah.
Do you think he's taken inspiration from someone? With those,
I mean, yeah,
with those words that you just said,
yes.
Yeah. But I mean,
that's what I mean. Yeah. But he's like, oh no, I'm so innovative, and so maybe that's what it means. Maybe Aizen he's a massive intellect, obviously, but I'm like, I don't know if he's that creative. Maybe that's what sets he and Urahara apart. Like, Urahara seems like an innovator, and Aizen is just good at stuff.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Aizen doesn't strike me as a creative personality type, whereas Urahara does. But in, like, a kind of manic kind of way sometimes. Like, I don't care for the consequences of this, I'm going to try it anyway.
Yeah, or he's thought through the consequences and has 9 different contingency plans.
Oh, true. Like, bloody Doctor Strange, like, there are 14 million outcomes to this battle, and in one of them I'm okay, that's the one I'm gonna...
Right.
The second stage release, like, Ulquiorra keeping that from Aizen, do we think Aizen knows about it?
Oh, for sure.
I thought that.
I think we have to assume Aizen knows about just about everything.
Yeah, I was thinking that. And how can you hide something like that? Like, surely you would have had to have discovered that you could do that thing. And if you discovered you could do that thing, surely other people would have sensed you discovering doing that thing. This is how I also feel about Ikaku's Bankai.
Yeah. I suppose, like...
Yeah.
With Ulquiorra, is it a case of, did he, stop me if I'm going into spoiler territory here, but did he do this before Aizen recruited him, or was it something he was only able to achieve due to the power of the Hogyoku? Is that spoilerish?
It's not spoilerish, you're just asking the question.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have an answer for it, but
Because if it's something like after Aizen picked him up and he'd learnt it, then Aizen's gonna have been able to probably sense him. He's not gonna be able to hide the training and realization that he can do this. Whereas if he managed to do it before he got recruited by Aizen, then maybe it could be.
My brain is telling me that it would have to be after, because like Aizen is the one that gave a lot of them some additional powers using the Hogyoku, right? So like when they're talking about an espada release,
yeah, that's true.
You know, that's where my brain's going anyway. But who knows? Maybe we'll get that confirmed.
Well, some of the espada evolved without Aizen's help, and Aizen just found them as they were, though. Xyle, for example, was like that. My question is, maybe is this a capability that Ulquiorra has had access to, but maybe he hasn't actually used his second release before? Is this maybe the first time he's busted it out?
Maybe the first time he's busted it out in battle, but surely he would know, to know that it's something that exists, he would have had to have achieved it in the first place.
Yeah, I don't know. Ulquiorra shows a lot of restraint as a so I think about someone like Ikkaku, for example. Ikkaku doesn't show a lot of restraint as a person, right? Yeah. So, which also, I think Ikkaku benefits from the fact that his captain kind of, like, it isn't going to pay attention to spiritual pressure changes in that way. It's just going to be, I don't know, and which, no shade to Kenpachi, it's just that there's a level of nuance that Aizen has when it comes to sensing spiritual pressure that Kenpachi either doesn't have or doesn't care about, I think.
Fair.
So, like, I wouldn't put it past Ulquiorra to have been out in the sands of Las Noches, or excuse me, of Hueco Mundo, and have figured out for himself that this latent capability exists within him, and then maybe kept it under wraps for a really long time. It's a stretch, and there's no proof to this, but it doesn't seem impossible. Either way, I imagine Aizen knows that Ulquiorra can do this, but that Aizen has never seen it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense. Because it also poses the question of how did Aizen rank everybody he hired? Like, what kind of
That's such a good question.
What kind of test did they go through in order to make... Like, if Ulquiorra is 4, and he has this second etapa, does that mean that Halabel, Barragan, and Stag are all more powerful than Ulquiorra with his second etapa? Or
we literally don't know, and that's what makes that question so scary.
Or is he number 4 because Aizen doesn't know about his second etapa, but he would have been number 1 had he known?
Goodness knows.
Deep questions this week.
No, it's a difficult question to spend time with. Maybe let's revisit that question after we see how some of these other fights go.
Yeah,
because that is a good question.
That is a good question. Let's pop that pin there and come back to that for sure. Yeah.
Whoever
Assuming
is
they
editing,
end up being
remember.
fights and people don't decide to just like call things quits and then go out for a beer, but we can all dream.
Can I cycle back to that? I know I've spoke a little bit about like the cinematography of these episodes, but there was one scene like there's loads of stuff in the background that if you pay attention to it and you really start calling on it, you can really see some cool moments. So for example, the one I clocked was when Ulquiorra like shoves Ichigo's face and breaks some of his mask into the pillar. When we get the camera bounces back and we see him in the sky with his wings spread, he actually creates a skull in the cloud behind him. It looks like a skull in the sky.
Badass.
It's really cool.
That's cool.
That's so badass.
And then at the end of the episode, when it's like to be continued, appearing as a hole in Ichigo's chest as well was really nice.
Speaking of Ichigo, and Ulquiorra brings this up, is how much he has really improved over the course of the hours, however long they've been here. I don't think they've been here that long, to be honest.
Time is fake, yeah.
And like how much is improved? Because if you think back to his fight against Gluttony, he could only hold it for a couple of seconds. But then with every fight, he's been able to hold it longer and longer and longer. Like speaking of his mask, he's been able to hold it for longer.
Yeah,
and
it's
longer
not holding
and
in the
longer.
toilet.
No. Well, I mean, they probably are as well.
It's true, actually. Nobody thinks about that. Anyway, it's fine.
No. So yeah, it just shows how much he has improved and how much development has been put in towards. It's not been a case of all of a sudden he's been powerful. You have actually seen that change in him, which I think is really good, because some places, all of a sudden they get to this new place. I'm not throwing any shade at Chad. Honestly, I am not throwing any shade at Chad. But they get to this new place and all of a sudden they have these extra moves and attacks and can suddenly defeat every single opponent they come to. Whereas Ichigo's had that steady progression into struggle and actually fighting and actually winning, not without sacrifice. I think that's really good writing.
Right. Yeah, the power scaling actually does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We've said that
when
before.
you don't shove loads of filler in between,
Yeah.
Well, sure, but honestly, and part of the reason I hate filler so much is that the whole entire point of filler is to get things exactly back to the status quo again. So people can go on this whole entire journey, but then no matter what, you have to end the filler in the exact same place where you started it. So you have to bullshit character development, and I hate that.
Yeah. Anybody got any other points? I've got a few for like when Ichigo's dead, effectively, quote unquote.
Okay.
Quotation marks, but
Yeah.
I've got
Go for it.
who, me or Lethan?
Nomi, you started speaking. You go.
Fight.
Well,
I don't know.
My points are before Ichigo's death.
Go for it.
So
All right, let's go chronologically then.
Yeah. So really, it's just to talk about the Black Zero in release mode. And basically we have seen that the anime like to color code Espada Zeros. And they have shown that again with this Black Zero because it had the slight green tinge. So it'll be interesting to see if the anime do that again, if another Espada happens to fire off this Black Zero, because we haven't seen it before. And it is something that I went back and looked at. I was like, wait, have we seen this before? Has really no Espada shot off a Macero whilst they've been in release mode? But they haven't. They've all used their, like, Zanpakuto's special abilities and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see, like, if Halibut ever does it, is hers going to have a slight yellow tinge around the Black Zero? Is Baragon's going to be blue? I don't know what color Baragon would be.
He had that red pillar of energy shooting up and down.
I chose yellow for
Halibut was
Halibut
yellow,
because of her
Stark
hair.
was blue, and but her energy thing was yellow as well.
Oh,
so
yeah, true.
yes,
Yeah.
and then Stark's was blue.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So yeah, that was Black Zero. We had. Did you guys notice the shift in kind of how the anime did things? We had a random monologue narration from Ishida. And the anime has never done this before.
Yeah.
And
I did.
It seemed really out of place in the anime. And the reason why they did it is because I don't think they could think of any other way to display his words as it was written in the manga. Because the manga always has these kind of monologues and narrations and everything.
Yeah.
So the anime had to do it that way. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to fit these words in. And it was just kind of weird to see this shift of we're actually having a monologue narration right now, which is something we've never had before. Yeah.
From Ishida?
From Ishida,
In general, probably as well.
We did briefly not really a monologue per se, but we had like that internal thought thing in the beginning of the previous episode when he was thinking about how he should maybe reassure Orihime when he was like, I can't tell her I'm glad you're safe yet because I don't want to assume that we're out of the woods. But
Rukia was a little bit of a narrator at the very beginning as well, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a lot more common.
I mean,
in the manga,
there are little moments like that here and there, and maybe that's just it as well. As like I've read enough manga, not just Bleach, but like to know that that's a convention within manga. And so if I hear that kind of thought internal monologue thing, I just assume it's pulled from bits in the manga like that, and it sort of doesn't take me out of anything. But
What else have I got? Nope, we got that. Ulquiorra has Bankai now? Question mark. Okay, no, I'm good. Yep. Cue Ichigo's death.
Oh shit, Ichigo dead! Ichigo's fucking dead. But well, I would say Uryu like covering Orihime so she can get to Ichigo to heal him is like, Uryu was just an absolute fucking champion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's such a champ,
so,
for real.
Such a champion. He didn't even hesitate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's how you jump into a support role.
100%.
Like, Uryu is so good at that. And it's not just because he's primarily a ranged fighter. He's got the right strategic mind to be really good as a support person.
Yeah. And these episodes, especially with the way he looks at Orihime, the way he's protecting Orihime, it does make me understand a little bit of where people who ship Ishida and Orihime come from, because you can definitely see that in these episodes.
Yep.
Well, stay tuned to my ship for the end of the movie.
Oh no! / oh yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, although, we talked a little bit about how we've seen Ichigo's growth in power over the course of the time that they've spent together in Hueco Mundo. But this, I think, represents a really considerable evolution, like, emotionally for Uryu as well. Because when we first met him, he would never... Not that he would never have jumped to somebody's defense. He was just even cagier when we first met him. But the idea of him, like, taking a second, considering someone else's feelings, and then making a choice about what to say, that's growth too.
Yeah. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, between that and then the entire lack of hesitation and, like, fuck this, I'm going to jump in and protect my friends. Like, honestly, I don't know if he even really had friends when we first met him.
Yeah.
He had acquaintances, sure, and I'm sure, his home handicrafts club members either had crushes on him or liked him well enough or appreciated him for his skill set or who knows. But I don't know if he would have said he had friends, and I imagine he might entertain the possibility of maybe saying that now.
Yeah. I mean, I have enjoyed watching Uryu's character arc. What I would say, though, is I feel like Uryu's beginning, like his introduction for me, feels a bit like Renji, in the sense that I feel like Kubo was originally going to write these characters as bad guys, and then was like, "Oh, actually, kind of like
Quincy's?
them."
What? Sorry,
but I'm gonna change that up and actually make them good because I like them now. Because I just feel like Uryu, obviously we saw like he thought his granddad died at the hands of a hole, quote unquote. I'm using quotation marks here, right? So why the fuck would he break apart bait to invite a whole bunch of hollows into Karakura Town to potentially hurt innocent people?
Because he's proud and immature.
I don't know. And
he wouldn't do that anymore, but when we first met, he's grown a lot. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know.
I feel like Kubo was originally going to write these characters as... Because even Renji's introduction doesn't make sense. Like, they were written to be... These are...
I think Renji's introduction makes less sense than Uryu's does. Well, especially because, not that there are many Quincy's, but, like, Ryukin is still... I would say, I mean, of course, yeah, he helped Uryu get his powers back, whatever. Ryukin is still a massive asshole and is not... I don't know that he's categorically a bad guy, but I don't know that he's like... He's not a good guy,
Unless maybe Uryu's introduction was just meant to be foreshadowing for stuff to come in the series.
Maybe. I mean, our sample size is really small when it comes to Quincy's, I guess. We've met a bunch of Shinigami, of which Renji is one.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Wow, okay. Do you think that if she was in a stable place mentally, that Orihime could reverse death?
Yes. Yes.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know enough about the prerequisites for her reversal powers in the first place.
Well, Aizen did say...
Like, does there have to be living matter or something? I don't know. I actually don't know.
That's true, actually, yeah. I know that Aizen says that she could reverse whole events. So to me, death would potentially fall in that bracket. But I feel like with Ichigo, it maybe wasn't working because she was so distraught. And like she was so like even in her head she was like, what do I do? So I feel like maybe where she is in her power level right now, maybe not quite, but I think it's one of those things that if she honed in on her skills and really developed them, I think that if Aizen's saying that she can like reverse whole events, death is one of the biggest events of all that all of us go through, right?
Yeah,
right. So I don't know, things that are true, death is an event. But so possibilities that are occurring to me are, one, Orihime's never had to reverse death before, so having to do that in such a high stakes environment when she is so distraught and has just been a prisoner for a pretty long time, that's a big ask.
Yeah, not right now, but if she was in a better place mentally with more streamlined.
No, yeah. So what I'm saying is like it could be a power scaling thing for Orihime eventually too. I don't know whether Kubo was intending that or not, but the idea of you're in Wako Mundo, the stakes are high as fuck, and all of a sudden this massive thing is being asked of you. Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? So this could be a moment of that for Orihime potentially. I don't know though, because I find myself being like, is that like too world basically
like the time turners in Harry Potter.
Sort of, yeah. Like would the Shinigami have allowed her to continue to cultivate her power if reversing death was actually something she can do, considering a large part of what Shinigami do in the first place is maintain balance, and death is part of that balance.
True.
I wonder, it's hard. Wait, actually, I don't know. Other than like Kaien and Miyako, we haven't really seen anybody die, have we? Like soul people who are not just human.
The plot armor's too thick.
We haven't seen, have we?
Plot armor's too thick, I was saying.
Miyako,
yeah, no, you're right.
Kaien.
I guess some of the Arrancars have died.
Yeah, Arrancars, yeah.
But no one like important.
There was a few of the members of
her brother.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, that's
What about in Turn Back the Pendulum arc when Kensei takes some of his?
That's the thing. I don't know if they died or if they just became reishi and it was all massively fucked up. I don't know. I think that was an unusual circumstance.
Yeah, true.
So I guess what I'm saying is there hasn't really been an opportunity while Orihime has been around for Soul Society to be like, oh, XYZ person died. Hey, Orihime, can you do something about like that conversation hasn't come up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like either it isn't possible and so Soul Society isn't thinking about it, or if Soul Society encouraged it, it would be too big a problem. I really don't know.
Yeah, I was just more wondering if I thought she'd be physically have the physical ability to be able to do it. I think she could, but I agree with you in the sense that like that would have to be very heavily monitored because of the whole balance thing between worlds. But I feel like if they were in like a situation where the Soul Society was at risk of like falling to enemies, like because they are the balance, I think then she would probably get a pass to be able to execute a power like that if it meant that overall the balance would continue.
I don't know. My instinct is that she can't. Like, for some reason, my instinct is that I'll need to think about why, but I feel like death is in a different category from most other events, and I don't know whether it's because of, like, the physical matter involved.
So do we think then that her healing ability was just keeping, like, Ichigo was maybe not fully dead yet, and she was just keeping him hanging on long enough?
Yeah, kinda. Yes. Basically.
Do you think that Ichigo would have like exploded into this hell like demon version of his hollow if it had been anybody other than Orihime shouting on him?
One of his sisters, maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking his sisters. I was even thinking like Rukia, Nell, potentially, Chad, maybe.
Yeah, yep, agreed on both of those. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Nell, can you imagine?
Oh god, that would be awful. How could you not? Everybody would.
I'd forgotten about Nell.
Yeah.
Where is Nell?
Yeah. This is probably too many characters. I had this thought watching this episode where I was like, where is Nell? Like, what is happening? Like, this is a problem with too many characters and you eventually start losing sight of some of them. Oh shit, that person exists. Fuck.
Oh, I have no idea where Nell is. That's a really good question.
She's taking a nap.
No,
man.
I've got really no more notes. I've just got fun facts, manga fun facts now.
Yeah, I think I've just written down a bunch of like literal things that some of these characters say because I thought they were good. I don't know. I guess I was just like shook by the amount of Ulquiorra's disbelief. Like that's kind of all because the amount of times that he's like, how is this happening? This is impossible. No way, over the course of the latter half of this episode, so many times. And so I think there is something to be said. I mean, look, we did sort of talk about Ulquiorra being a rule follower before. I imagine he's the kind of person who likes to think about his life and the world in a fairly orderly way that he can make sense of, and then something has just happened that completely subverts that understanding, and he really can't grapple with it. He really struggles. That's the last thing I've really got, though.
The last thing I've got is another one of these cinematography pieces. It's literally just when their two Ceros collide and explode, like the fact that Ichigo, he looks like the devil, like especially with all the fire around him. It's like that kind of demonic symbolism in the fire, and it was so well done, especially when we had, before he died, Ichigo had been framed by the blue moon, and it's kind of like a more natural pure light, and you know, white kind of bluish lighting seen as being kind of like associated with good guys, I guess, effectively, and then you've got like this hell fire light being associated with evil and demonic things, and I just thought that the animation was fantastic in that. And that's me. Oh, I also put there, glad this demon Ichigo can't speak, and it's because it's a real issue in the series. Like, speaking during battles, I'm so glad he can't talk.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah, are you all done, Del?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've just got fun facts. I won't do volume, because we'll save that for next episode.
Okay.
But I have got a Zampak toe pole.
Oh!
Ooh, oh, God. I feel like, fine, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Have a guess at who is number one?
I feel like Byakuya's got to be really high up on the list somewhere, right? Surely.
Oh.
It's going to be either... It's not Tushima.
I think it's Yorinmaru is number one. I think it's gotta be.
It
That's like
is.
his Shikai form, isn't it? Like his Bankai form.
Yorinmaru is just the name of his Zanpakuto.
Oh, shoot, yeah, it's
Right?
Zanpakuto, not Bankai.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Well, technically,
Yeah,
it's
Hiromaru.
Zampak toe, but then it goes into weapons, Kido, and everything, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah,
But,
I agree then.
fine.
It's got to be
Hyoenmaru is number one, yes.
Yeah.
That just makes sense. Like,
Yeah. It's a dragon.
we also see it all the fucking time. That boy does not know how to not go Shikai. Like, he does it all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Not as
who
much
was
as
number...
Byakuya.
True.
I could see Sunbone Sakura being like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Oh no, is it fucking Zabimaru?
It is not Zenbon Sakura, and it is not Zabimaru.
Ooh.
Is it Ichigo's?
It is
Yeah,
not
is it
Ichigo's.
Oh.
Oh.
Come on, Lethan.
Oh, is it Rukia? Oh, Sudino
It's
Shirayuki.
Rukia?
Yay!
Oh, okay.
It's
Really?
Tsuruyuki.
People
yeah.
like the
That's
ice.
nice.
People
Oh
like
gosh,
the
everybody
ice.
likes the icy ones. Okay.
Yeah. Number 3. We've already mentioned him.
Is Zenbon Sakura.
Zenbone Sakura.
Nope.
Fucking Zabimaru beats Zenbone Sakura?
Nope.
What?
Oh, it's
Ichigo.
It's
What the
old
fuck is-
man Ichigo's
Zangetsu.
It's Zangetsu.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, fine.
And then it's
Sure.
got to be Byakuya Zenbon Sakura.
It's not.
Oh, what?
We have not mentioned this one.
Oh.
What? Oh.
Oh, is it Urahara's?
It is not Benihime.
Benihime? No, Benihime hasn't done enough yet. It's not. No. Is it? This is hard.
This is hard. Like, how who could have beat out
Oh, is it
Zenbon
Rujin
Sakura?
Jaka? People like that one.
It's not Ryujin Jaka. Nope.
Okay.
That wouldn't beat.
We have seen it previously in at least the last 10 episodes.
Oh.
Is it Shuhei?
Ruri Irokujaku.
It is
no one is
not
Shuhei.
Shuhei.
Is it really?
It's
Is it
not.
Izuru?
Was I right?
It is
It's not. There's
Izuru.
no fucking... Oh, Wabisuke's so cool. Oh my
It is
god, I love
Wabisuke.
Wabisuke.
Yeah.
I fucking love Wabisuke. Oh!
Okay, and
Ooh,
fifth.
Kazushini's gotta be high up there too. Kazushini's fucking cool.
Right, come on. Fifth has got to be Byakuya's.
It is Byakuya.
Fuck's sake, how the
Zenbon
hell
is
did
fifth.
Wabisuke
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
get
didn't think that
above
people were gonna
Zenbon
put
Sakura?
Kazushini
I'm
above
sorry.
that. I'm so proud of Izuru that his is above Byakuya's, actually.
That just
That's
makes
so
no
nice.
sense.
Okay, some
What do you
honorable
mean? It's
mentions.
so cool.
Some honorable mentions. Sixth is Kazushine. Seventh
Oh,
is
okay, okay.
Zabimaru.
Okay, fine, whatever.
Then we go into some random ones. You've got ninth is Pantera, Grimjaw.
Oh, fine.
Kisuke's is fifth. No, it's not. It's 12th. I can't read my numbers. Kisuke is 12th. Ginrei Kojaku, as in Ishida, is 11th.
Oh,
Okay,
sick.
that was a choice.
Daiguren Hyoranmaru is 16th.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Ukitake is 17.
Okay.
Okay.
Joint 18th, you've got Aizen, Kaien, and Rangiku.
Okay.
Oh.
Uh,
Aizen and Rangiku were ranked the same?
Yup.
That is shocking.
Yup.
We've
I think it's just because
Wow.
she's got more valuable assets. That's
I'm looking for specific people now. Kenpachi Zaraki Zanpakuto is 29th.
Sure.
No
doesn't
names.
do anything.
Yeah. Well, it's there. We haven't
It's got
seen
ridges.
everybody's stuff.
Yeah.
Some people
Oh, there he
probably
is.
have cool powers that we're gonna see shortly.
32nd is Ryujin Jaka.
Okay.
33rd is Kuraku's Katen Kyotsu.
Yeah, that's for right now.
Yeah, come back to
give
that.
it a
We'll
second,
cycle
just
back to
fucking
that.
give it a second. Oh my god.
We've got some. Oh, there we go. Shinji Hirako Zanpakuto is 56th.
Yeah,
What?
yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
at
come
this
back to
point,
that.
At this
Yeah.
point, yep.
We'll come back to
And
that.
then
Yep.
joint 64th. These are hilarious. You've got Asaichi, as in the blank
Asauchi
sword.
just wait, do we know what those are?
Apparently so.
Oh. So just
Because-
a raw Zanpakuto. Okay, great.
It's
Wow.
joint 64th with a rain glove. Nanao Issei's
don't-
eyeglasses
wait, oh.
temple.
Oh god.
Ulquiorra's resurrection. Ulquiorra's eyeball.
Oh.
Ulquiorra's
Oh my
fingernails.
god, right, okay. Okay.
What?
I was going
Karen's-
to make a joke about Ulquiorra's fingernails when he transforms, actually. I was going to be like, I just hope he never
Very
has to
good.
prep anybody, and then I was like, maybe I shouldn't include that joke, but I have now,
You
so.
think that no,
Karine Sockerball.
he's just not
Oh my
ready
God.
for that. He can't. That would be. I don't.
Karen, did you
That
hear
wouldn't
that?
be
Karen's
fun.
soccer ball.
God.
That's amazing.
Good morning, Ichigo.
Oh, big fan of that. Wish that was ranked higher. Big fan. Yes. Good morning, Ichigo.
Chad's
Everybody's
right
favorite
arm that
breakfast show.
changed for the first time.
Sure,
Where's
fine.
Chad's thumbs up? What number's that?
I wasn't there actually, no. We have got Tatsuki's fist though.
Oh yeah, good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Are Orihime's powers anywhere on this list?
I can go back and look. I just want to say this one. Hinamori's eyeglass cookie.
Oh my god.
As in the little glasses cookies that she
Oh.
makes.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I actually face palmed.
Miss Rangiku's breasts.
Oh yes, their assets.
They
absolutely.
were. That's guys. Wow.
Come on, like it's funny,
Yeah.
but it's also like.
Let's see if I can find Orihime. 25th is Zenbon Zakura Kageyoshe / Gokei / Shuke /
Alright, yeah.
Haku Taken. So basically every other,
All of the Bankai shit.
all of the Bankais.
Did you just say loopy?
I did just say loopy. He is 46th.
Oh, that's nice. I'll accept that for him.
Senna's in here as well from the movie, so you know.
Oh,
my
whatever.
God.
Which might be where Asauchi came from.
Oh, maybe.
Because this
I
is
don't remember. I
including
haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Let's see.
Wait, is Senna the movie or is Senna? No.
Unless I'm missing her, the first Orihime I can find is in the joint 64th, and it's with Tsubaki, and it's Kakushi Sujaku.
Nobody appreciates the fact that Orihime can reject things and not just heal.
It's a really... I mean, hey, this whole arc is based around the fact that Aizen appreciates that, but
True.
Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. She'll get her comeuppance eventually.
And then speaking of characters
she will.
Speaking of characters that we've not seen for a while, on the very next page after this poll, it's literally just a picture of Lolly hanging by her underwear with a spike, and it says Lolly's current situation.
Oh,
she's just hanging there.
Wow.
I actually think it's, I don't know, is it an Ishida arrow that she's hanging by here? Let you guys see it. But it's funny and it's hilarious. And at the end of all the manga chapters, actually, we've got this seven deadly sins in which they've animalized them, given them all an animal. So the pig for gluttony, the fox for greed, pride for lion, badger sloth, a unicorn for wrath, not sure about that one, scorpion for the lust, and snake for envy.
Are you kidding? Have you ever gone up against a unicorn? No, because you'd lose.
And then the next pages, as we finish the lust, we see the substitute Shinigami badge, and it's slowly disintegrating. So at the end of every chapter, it's a little bit less, and it's signifying Ichigo's lack of losing his humanity, basically, as he goes into this full hollow.
That's cool.
Or lack of Shinigami-ness, maybe.
Yeah. There you go. There's Lolly's current situation.
That's brilliant. Yeah, that does look like an Uryu arrow.
An Uryu
situation.
Mm-hmm.
That is.
Wow.
That's brilliant.
That's cute.
That's going to be some wedgie.
Oh, yeah.
Alright then, any last, or will we move on to our peroxide?
No, we're good.
Alright, that brings us into
our peroxide.
Our Shinigami cup peroxide, and I should say who wrote best this week then?
Ulquiorra and his prefect badge.
That's funny.
That's very good.
Yeah, because he is such a stickler for the rules.
Yes. I also put Ulquiorra, but I put Ulquiorra wearing defenses around his feelings.
Oh. I actually think we've all gone for Ulquiorra this time. I went with Ulquiorra, but at the end of one of the episodes, Orihime was trying to convince him to wear the wig that Yoroichi dances with in the end.
Yes!
So I was like, that is mine, like Ulquiorra wearing that wig.
Oh, that was great.
What about best ships then?
Ichigo and the sweet embrace of death.
Oh, wow.
Aww.
Wow.
I went for Ulquiorra again, because he's a big deal in this episode.
Yeah.
Ulquiorra and the word impossible. I couldn't not notice how often he said that. He was in love with that word this episode.
I love that. That's a good one. I've given a special shout out to Uryu and Orihime because I thought they were very cute. But I also put, for my main one, I put Ichigo plus the moonlight and his hollow plus firelight. Because I thought that was
cool.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Cool. Yes.
Cinematography perspective. Right. What about fandom shout-outs then? Show us what you got.
So my fandom shout-out is to celebrate the birthday of one of Dell's boys and my boy. It is Shinji Hirako.
Woo!
And it is by Gravity Dusty on...
Oh, wow.
Twitter. Yeah.
That is so cool.
Oh.
I love the lighting aesthetic they've gone for that. And is that lilies he's holding in his arm?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Nice.
Flowers. He's just so soft, and it's just so befitting of the birthday boy himself.
He's also, like, in this piece of art as well, It's another thing where, like, if you saw this image, no context, and you said, okay, gut reaction, is this a, quote, good guy or bad guy?
Probably bad guy,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
Blurry lines, baby. Big fan of that. Big fan of that.
That's really cool, yeah.
Ah, he's so pretty.
All right, Dale, what you got?
Is his earring a little sacanate? Maybe. Anyway.
Looks like it, yeah.
Yes. I am highlighting a cosplayer this week. This is somebody who goes by Golubaya Luna on Instagram. And I just think it's a really good orihime. So there's that. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not.
There are a few. And this cosplayer also does some, like, some male characters from Bleach as well. So, she's got range, if you scroll through her page. It's pretty neat.
I love that. I love the lighting in that, this sort of, like, effect of
Yeah, it's really well shot as well. The photography is really good, too.
having
that's
just
so
released
cool.
Yeah.
her
yeah.
attack. Yeah, that's really, really cool. My one this week is actually a bit of art that was very recently posted, and this comes from Coffee on Twitter, and it is Toshiro with his blade, like he's blocking an attack, and I just thought that it's just the lighting, the shading, the colours. I just love everything about it.
It's a good precursor into what we're going to be getting next week.
That is so true.
Yep.
Ah.
And the links to all of these will be in the show notes down below, so please go click, check them out, follow them on their socials. Like, we really support the fandom works that come in for Bleach. Is that us? Any last things? Any last words?
No.
Just that I'm excited. I'm excited for everything that's coming. Literally everything.
Yes.
Yep, me too. Alright then, well, you wonderful souls, that is the end of another episode. If you like what you heard and you want to get involved, you can find us by searching for The Serite on Instagram and D Serite on Twitter. Now, Ichigo and Rukia might reap souls, but we're hoping to reap some 5-star reviews, and that is where you come in. Make like our favourite orange hair protector and Ichigo to iTunes and Spotify to rate us, review us, and make us feel like number one. To those of you listening on YouTube, don't forget to be like Chad and give us that good thumbs up. We really appreciate it. On the next episode of the podcast, we'll be covering anime episodes 272, Ichigo vs Ulquiorra, Conclusion, 273, Fury of the Shark, Haribel Releases, 274, and 274, Hitsugaya, The Suicidal Frozen Heavens 100 Flower Funeral. Try saying that 10 times fast. We'll see you souls until next time. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
And that brings us to episode 226. Fierce fighting concludes. No, wait. Whoa. I didn't copy and paste the right episode title. RIP. I was like, that's not what that's called. Episode 271. Oh! Wow! Sorry. We should just, that's not salvageable. I'm just gonna start that over. Sorry.
Go for it, you're fine.
Whoa, buddy. It was just a copy and paste moment that I didn't do. Anyway,